Welcome back. Now for the AFEX Commodities Market Update. Let's get a sense of how your money performed on the exchange. Joining us now is Omotola Akangbe, that's a market data and research analyst at AFEX. Good morning. Great to have you, Omotola.
Good morning. Great to be here again this morning.
So tell us how the market performed for the week ended.
So we saw a bearish trend across our key indicators. There was a decline of about 18% in our total turnover, declining from about 6 billion naira to close at about 4.9 billion naira. We also saw a decline of about 22% in the volumes of contract traded, declining from 15 million contracts to close the week at about 12 million contracts. We also saw a decline of about 28% in number of deals traded, moving deals from 246 deals closed to 177 deals closed. Across the AFEX commodity index, we saw a decline of about 3.2%, moving the index point from 504 index points to close the week at 488 index points. The AFEX export index also saw a decline of about 4.6%, declining from 244 index points to close the week at 233 index points. Across volumes of contract traded, week on week, we saw an increase in the volume of soybean, sorghum, and cocoa traded. Across our price, we saw an increase of 2.11% in the price of soybean, closing the week at 350 naira per kobo. We also saw a marginal increase of 0.99% in the price of cocoa to close the week at 1,917.41 naira. Sesame topped the laggard chart, declining by 13% to close the week at 1,100 naira per kilogram, followed closely by paddy rice, which declined by 3.14% to close the week at 317.60 naira. Maize and cashew nut also declined during the week. For more information about our commodities, kindly visit our website at africaexchange.com, and to join our trading platform, you can download COMEX on Play Store or the Apple Store.
All right, thank you for that update. That was Omotola Akangbe, the analyst, market data and research at AFEX. Thank you. All right, let's take the conversation further now. We see high rates of inflation, rising geopolitical risk, and excessive market volatility characterized 2022. Against the backdrop, commodities market alternative delivered exactly what investors expected. But we'll take a quick break now. We'll come back. We continue the conversation. Do stay with us. This is Business Morning. Welcome back. Still watching Business Morning live on Channels Television. Well, we have some breaking news now. We see the Supreme Court of Nigeria has restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10th deadline for the old 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes to stop being a legal tender. Three northern states of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara had an motion ex parte filed on February 3rd, prayed the Apex Court to halt the Central Bank of Nigeria Naira redesign policy. A seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, in a unanimous ruling, granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, CBN, commercial banks, and others from implementing the February 10th deadline for the old 200, 500, 1,000 naira notes to start being legal tender. The court further held that the federal government and the CBN must not continue with the deadline pending the determination of a notice on respect of the issue on February 15th. By this ruling, the old naira notes continue to be legal tender in Nigeria. That's breaking news reaching us right now. Well, let's continue the conversation now with AFEX there. We see it's all about volatility right now in the markets, and obviously commodities market did do well in 2022. Let's see what's to come for 2023. Joining us now is Zara Dogo, head market growth at AFEX. Great to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
So according to reports, the alternative market soared high in the past year. Is there any reason why this class performed better than the conventional market in 2022?
So the central theme that we saw play out in 2022 was that central banks had a hawkish stance due to the effects of inflation across different economies all across the world. And it's been proven so far that there's a strong correlation between inflation and the returns on alternative instruments. And particularly with the commodities market, there's also a strong correlation between the prices of commodities and exchange rate depreciation. So coming down to Nigeria, we saw inflation on the rise all through the year, as well as the depreciation of the naira. And so what we saw as a result of that was the prices of commodities rising. And affects commodity index, and that closed the year at 4% compared to the all-share index that did 21 to 22%. And that was the second best performing equities market around the world. So once you look at what the equities market did in comparison to what the ACI did, you can see that the commodities market definitely outperformed this year.
And are there any commodity market risk investors should look out for in 2023 regarding alternative investments?
So as we like to point out whenever we're speaking to investors or generally in the investment landscape, it is very critical for investors to evaluate their risk return profile before diving into any investment. And just looking at the commodities market in particular, there is the element of price risk, mainly because there's a fluctuation in the prices of these commodities on a day-to-day basis. So it is critical for investors to have a fundamental understanding of the prices of these commodities. And how AFEX is able to mitigate against that risk is that we provide daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly reports to aid the understanding of investors. We had our outlook about 2 weeks ago, where we critically analyzed the market last year, and we also spoke extensively on the factors that would affect the commodities market this year. So price risk is a factor, but we put in all of these mitigants in place to aid investors with their investments. And also speaking on price risk, we've been able to come up with products that are able to curb this risk, such as fixed income instruments that allow you to enter the market or buy into this product at a fixed price for a fixed period of time.
All right, in comparison to 2022, do you think we'll have more investors in the alternative investment market? And why do you think this will happen?
So 2022, we saw a lot of investors play in the market. From the first question that I answered, I spoke about how inflation has been, it's been a factor that is affecting not just Nigeria, but the global space. And then with the depreciation of the naira, we've seen retail investors as well as capital market operators looking for the best way to diversify their portfolio. And commodities-linked instruments gives you that option to diversify your portfolio and hedge against risk. So, I mean, the alternative space is definitely a good place for anyone to take advantage of or buy into the opportunities that are available here.
And talking about opportunities, what other alternative investment opportunities are available for investors to take advantage in 2023?
For you to take advantage of the alternate space, you need to understand the instruments that are available within this market. And that includes commodities, derivatives contracts, we have hedge funds, private equity, as well as arts and antiques. But I will be speaking on the commodity space because that is what we do at AFEX. And we have different products that investors can play into depending on your risk appetite. So if you're looking for high risk, high return, we have products such as the spot contracts and the exchange traded commodity. And just speaking to the exchange traded commodity, we had it run its course last year for 9 months from about January up until September, and it did a return of about 31%. which outperform both inflation and uncertainties when we look at the Naira. So this year, that was open in January. It's closed now, but investors are able to play in the sports market. And for investors who are more risk averse, we have fixed income instruments that they can buy into. And once you think AFEX, you think agricultural commodities, but we are also expanding our array of products into hard commodities such as gold. So we have gold available at least before the end of Q2 this year, so allowing for investors to expand their appetite into the different products that we have on the exchange. We also have derivatives contracts, which we are working extensively to have available also before the end of Q2 on the exchange. So we see a lot of opportunity this year in the market. I mean, commodities, the gospel of commodities is going far and wide, and now more than ever before, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the appreciation or depreciation of the Naira. So I believe that with all of the products that I have just mentioned, investors can come into this space and invest.
All right, I guess investors will be looking out for all of that. Thank you so much, Zara Dogo, Head Market Growth, AFEX. Thank you.
Thank you very much.